Hey, what is up everybody, Blades for here, and today for you guys another video, Persona 5X. Inside today's video guys, we're going to be going ahead and doing the unit review for the girl Rin Lion Dance here, in which was a character that actually released early this year. So if you guys are interested in this, be sure to sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. And as always, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It really does help me out quite a lot. We've been going absolutely insane, and we're just going to continue pushing on as the global release is coming. So with this in mind here, this character came in with a bang, and when I say with a bang, I mean she quite literally rose the whole level of how much damage AoE characters can truly do. This character was leveling units like it was absolutely nothing, dishing out damage that I've never seen from an AoE DPS till then. It was kind of insane. It was like literally right before the Haru buff, and when I mean everyone was looking at this character as a0 unit and was like, there's no freaking way she's dishing out these numbers. It was absurd. Like we were seeing here like numbers such as 2 million, 3 million just getting dished out continuously at that. It wasn't like as if it was a miraculous thing. It was quite literally something that she could just do naturally. And with this coming into the game, I have to say it truly started to change Persona 5X or P5X in general. Not really for a worse turn, but definitely showed you, hey, numbers are going to get very, very large in this game. So with that in mind here, being the fire DPS that she is, I'm gonna go ahead and look at least her awarenesses, and I'm gonna tell you guys which one's really worth at least investing in. So checking out at least her awarenesses here, I did get a 2, in which was actually by mistake. I actually tried to get at least a 1 and got a doubler inside of one, at least my pools here. But one thing I do have to say for you guys, you're gonna go for the awarenesses immediately. The only one that you're going to need, and I'm being so serious with this, is just going to be the A1. You don't need anything else. I wouldn't say the A2 is kind of mid. The A4 is definitely not really too good. As for the A1, you get the most bang for your buck. If you're not going for A6, there's no real point to go any further from A1. The reason why I say you get the most bang for your buck with at least A1 is because it allows you to get into your Iron Flower Dance form even quicker. Now, much like how we have Makoto or either where we have Mesa, where they have a mask and it changes their form somewhat or changes their moves, Rin is kind of the same way. With this at least type of mechanic, she's able to change into the Iron Flower Dance form here, in which allows her to start doing technical damage with her at least sword attack. With this in mind, whenever she's in this form, you actually deal a lot more damage in general, and it really does block off the technicals, which can branch into several different parts, which we'll go over even more. But by getting the A1, you will then have the initial cooldown for this a little bit quicker than normal. It'll allow you to immediately enter the Flower Dance state as fast as possible, which increases your damage dealt as well by 34.3% using the actual seal itself. But alongside of getting this A1, you're now able to upgrade your Persona skills, and then you increase your crit damage by 40% whenever you are utilizing Fiery Shooting Star. This is one of the few moves that you're going to utilize quite a lot, and that's going to be the big part of at least this A1. The fact that you can get it even quicker and get the cooldown off immediately is already nice. It also does extend the duration of Iron Flower Dance by 1 whole turn, so instead of having it at least only 1 turn, that's it, you'll be able to have it for 2 whole turns, which is pretty darn decent for you guys as well. So you get a crit damage boost, additional turn, and it takes less time to get the actual form up. Absolutely amazing, crazy amazing to actually utilize it. And if you're using crackling firecrackers here, you are able to inflict a target with 1 stack of your fire, which is absolutely nice as well. Now, if you don't want to go for the A1, there's no real problem with that. The A0 is just as good, which this is your farewell here. Now with this one, pretty much it explains that she can enchant her sword with flames and turn her melee attacks into Fiery Shooting Star. Now this is going to be the 3rd skill where she actually uses her mask, and that lets you use that sword now, which you can now start triggering different technicals. Whenever you of course use the sword here, it'll do fiery technical damage, and then you can trigger certain different outcomes. The one that's going to be triggered is going to be called Backdraft, in which this increases the technical effects by 20%. So she's usually going to be getting some nice things out of this and will deal some decent damage, or amazing damage to be honest, if you do have of course her A0, aka just owning the character. absolutely worth it, especially if you're looking at the awarenesses side of things here. If you want to go for more, I would only suggest the A1, but hey, if you're going for A6, she's definitely a character to really go for in general. But now that we've explained at least her awarenesses, let's go ahead and check out the skills, in which she has a few that are very important. Now, depending on how you want to play this character, or at least what way you have this character, will depend on your skill rotation. Though for the majority of the amount here, I would like to say your most important skills are going to be your skill 3, of course, your skill 1, and most likely your combat skill. Kind of rare when you utilize this skill 2, because that mainly makes her into more of a DOT type character. You very well can upgrade it if you do want to, but to be honest, you shouldn't really be utilizing this at all. If anything, it's just going to be your skill 3, skill 1, and then of course the ultimate. Reasoning for it is because your skill 3 is your form, so you do want to of course have this one. By going into the said form, you increase your damage dealt by 36.4%, and it does upgrade your melee attack. This is where you're able to do the majority of at least your technicals here, which can trigger the backdraft technical, which whenever a person is inflicted with burn, you will increase your skill damage by 2%, which is absolutely amazing to just on top of the damage of the technical itself, which is really good to have. So you're really going to be trying to focus this one to make sure you get the most out of that form to deal more of that technical damage. As for at least the other skill here, Abundant World, this is one of the other ones that you really want to pay attention to, mainly because it kind of sets you up for that technical form. This is more of an AoE type hit, in which does increase your crit rate by 10%, which you will very well so need to make sure you're dealing as much damage as possible, and it's going to happen for 2 whole turns. So you will end up getting a decent boost on at least your skill itself with that crit rate percent for 2 whole turns, and then you can finally upgrade your fiery star. So whenever of course we end up triggering this technical, or at least unlocking Iron Flower Dance, which this allows you to do, you'll then be able to at least utilize this said technical, seeing there is now a burn on the enemy. Pretty simple, pretty easy. No matter what, you'll be able to kind of trigger that fire on them as well, so surely do keep that in mind, and it will help you out in that damage category. This is probably her best things to go for, and the only reason why I say that you want to go for at least the ult last, because at the end of the day, this will increase your fire damage and increase your fiery shooting stars damage dealt as well. So usually these are going to be the only ones that you have in tandem, though it's not the only thing to her kit. In fact, even her passives are pretty darn good as well in that aspect, seeing that both of these said passives will end up at least helping you out with burn / your damage dealt, if they're burn being on the first skill here, and then it'll also help you out in the attack side of things and more of your technical duration of the boost that you end up getting, with the second one being pleasant. As you can see, you get yourself a 30% attack increase for 2 whole turns, which is actually amazing, seeing that she is going to be dishing out some crazy damage. So pretty darn nice to see. Character does have some technical things with her, but now that we've gotten that out the way, let's go ahead and check out the weapon. Now, one of the things I can say about this weapon is the weapon is truly good. The only reason I would say this is a weapon to invest in is because this character does need to utilize crit rate. If you do think about at least how you're going to have her cards or her artifacts here, you're going to want to get as much damage as possible out of this. So at least by having the weapon, you can then now start to use the star, or at least one of your artifacts, as a crit damage artifact instead of a crit rate. Granted, if you don't feel like going for the 5-star weapon, it is very good. I mean, the 5-star weapon is amazing, but you can very well stick with the 4-star weapon. I did stick with this for a little bit here. The only downside of it is, although you're getting this nice attack that you get from both of the weapons, you're going to be missing out on crit rate and of course the damage bonus. So surely do keep that in mind. But to counteract this here, of course, you can get some extra crit rate from some of your cards. So very well, it could be not worth it if you wanted to say so. The 4-star weapon could be very worth for you guys to go ahead and keep, and she still does a ton of damage with that 4-star weapon. But I do see her 5-star weapon being very much so worth it. So of course you're getting yourself that attack percentage. You're also getting yourself some bonuses for her Iron Flower Dance, increasing the crit rate by 60%, and that damage dealt whenever you're dealing a fire technical. So all in all, the 5-star is definitely worth it in my opinion. If you guys want to, of course, use the 4-star, it won't really hurt you too much. To be honest, it's still really good to just utilize the 4-star, but at the end of the day, that does depend on you. So at the end of the day, I say it's worth it. But let's go ahead and look at least all of her animations and show off what she really can do. So as per usual, we're going to go ahead and showcase this inside of one of the bosses here. To be honest, I would love to show her in an AoE type boss, but it's not really going to be too possible, seeing that the majority of these are a little weird, or at least they're what's it called, their bosses are usually just single target bosses. They're not really AoE. This first boss has an AoE boss, or at least an AoE type side of it, but not too much to them. So first things first here, to show off at least the ultimate, I'm actually going to slow this down so you guys can see it a little bit better. At least put it in 2x here. He does up a little firecracker, does a little bit of a dance, swallows it, and then throws it back down to the ground, dealing some damage, which this in turn will actually make it so she does a little bit more damage than normal here, which is actually going to be nice to see. Now, one of the things that you do want to take into account with this character is, at the end of the day, you want to trigger a lot of technicals. So having a character like Matoi, or having characters that can really proc these said technicals, are going to be very helpful. So for example, I end up having the A1, which allows me to use her third skill immediately. This usually is something that you have to wait a turn for, at least for prepping for it. But since we have the A1, we're able to immediately go into it. So for the third skill, it looks something like this. The enchanter sword with at least a fire here, and goes ahead and changes everything to more like a technical hit. As you guys can see, our sword now is flaming at the bottom, and it does say sword right there on fire. And pretty much once you click that, you now do this move here. That immediately will trigger the technical at hand and pretty much just show you everything that you need to be shown. So pretty darn cool. Now, she's not the only one with a technical. In fact, Matoi does have technicals as well, which does correlate directly with her. In fact, we will be showcasing more of her skills off in the future, but kind of want to save that for then. So we're going to go ahead and show off the next skill, being at least the skill 2, and then afterwards we show off the skill 1. Now the skill 2 is the one that you're not really going to be utilizing too much, so surely do keep that in mind, but it's still pretty cool to see. Drops down a firecracker here, and which then can have a chance to drop on your fire. Your fire is also very helpful when it comes down to DOT, though at the same time, you're not really going to be utilizing this character for that DOT aspect. So once we go ahead and tank this real quick, I can go ahead and show you guys the main one that you're usually going to be starting the fight with, and that is going to be the skill 1. Now, do keep in mind, usually if you have A1, your skill rotation is going to be immediately masking up using skill 3, then using masking up, and then going ahead and doing your melee attack. That's usually how it goes. Though of course, if you do want to, you very well could just go ahead and use the skill 1 as well, so to make sure you're getting that nice old crit rate. So if we go ahead and look at here, you got the skill 1, throws down a flaming sun here, and that gives you your crit rate that you do need in order to actually do things. So A0, you want to have your skill rotation to be at least skill 1, skill 3, then melee attack. And then for at least A1, it's usually a skill 3 melee attack, skill 1, skill 3 melee attack, melee attack. So you are going to do a double someplace in there, just you do have to keep in mind that this is what usually happens. All in all, absolutely amazing character. She has some cool aspects to her. I feel like a lot of you guys are going to enjoy this character when they do eventually release on the global version. Now, I think our game ended up freezing, so we're going to go ahead and close it out right there. Oh, wait, nope, never mind. Well, there it is. But we're going to close it out right here, and hopefully y'all enjoyed the video. If you did, please do smash that like button beforehand. Consider subscribing if you are new. We do daily videos of P5X, and we're only going to continue every day. So till then, everybody, peace out.